Good morning, listeners. Hey, it's a bright early Tuesday morning here at the Pew Pew Cafe, and I have to say today will be a great one. Here at the Pew Pew Cafe, man, we have some exciting guests, and today we have, man, one of the guys who really was an inspiration for me into moving forward with how MLW Consulting and Pew Pew Cafe got started. He has been a man that is known on YouTube and, man, to so many people. I mention his name, and everybody's like, oh, man, you know him? So, hey, here at the Pew Pew Cafe, we are excited to introduce to you or to bring to the Pew Pew Cafe table Mr. John Keys. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mac. Boy, look, man, you know, on the range, there's something called a cold start. Boy, it's a cold start for me this morning, boy.
Well, hey, being that it's a cold start, man, I will ask you this question. What's in the cup this morning, man? What you drinking on this morning, since this is the Pew Pew Cafe? How you get your day started, sir?
You know, honestly, I usually get my day started with a cup of green tea. This morning, I got my day started with a nice cold shower because I needed to shock my nervous system, man. You know, it's been a very busy season for us at Guns Out, and now We the Free, because, you know, we stood up our own streaming network. And year end, you know, we're feeling the growing pains of a budding business. Year end close out and preparing for next year. And you know how it is in the gun industry at the beginning of the year. What's at the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
SHOT Show. So we're already doing SHOT Show planning, man. So I didn't get to have my green tea this morning because I woke up late because I went to bed late. So literally, man, I'm running on a cold shower and nothing else.
Cold shower, man. No green tea, no black coffee. I don't even know if you're a coffee guy. I thought about the Irish coffee this morning because I said, man, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, but guess what? I just went straight black coffee this morning. So kind of in the same boat, but not the cold shower, bro. Not the cold.
No, I feel you, man. Trust me, it was a matter of necessity this morning only. Okay, like that's not my idea of a great start to my morning. However, like I said, it was necessary, man. You know, and I feel bad because I had to reschedule on you yesterday, so I wasn't gonna reschedule on you today, my brother.
Hey, I appreciate you 110-fold, bro, for real. So what I have to ask, because, man, I want to get into it, man. So, man, tell the world, man, who is John Keys, man? People want to know, man, and how you, who John Keys is first, and then we'll dive.
Yeah, no problem, man. You know, honestly, John Keys is just a boy from the deep South, man. I was born in Beaumont, Texas, lived there for like 4 years, and then was raised in Opelousas, Louisiana, small town in Louisiana. And it's interesting, man. Like for me, growing up in the deep South, it's like you know, I don't know. I was a dreamer all the time, man. It was like for something inside of me just felt like there was so much more world out there. And, you know, I didn't come from a family of means. So, you know, we were basically like we only knew what we had around us in terms of resources and opportunities and capabilities. And with that being said, you know, I just had this real early hunger to get out and find out what the rest of the world was about, man. And, you know, I did that a couple of different ways. You know, I played sports. And then once I got into high school, I realized ROTC was an option, and I joined ROTC and fell in love with the whole concept of military, man. Fell in love with it. It just, to me, it exemplified manhood. It exemplified doing the job that most people probably wouldn't want to do. And for me, that's what I wanted. I wanted something to challenge me right out of high school, man. So 17 years old, I found myself in boot camp, bro. I turned 18 in Marine Corps boot camp. So fast forward, I did 12 years in the Marine Corps, and it shaped me to really be resilient in my life. I owe that to the Marine Corps 100%. You know, resiliency is one of those things that you're going to learn whether you like it or not in the Marine Corps. And did that for 12 years and then got out and started pursuing my own business endeavors. Went to college, got 2 degrees. I worked at places like Headquarters Marine Corps, at the Pentagon, at Quantico. Did that for a number of years, and then found myself in the media industry. Once I found myself in the media industry, man, I really feel like I found my calling, because I've always also been very creative. Like I'm the type of guy that will look at an existing system, and whether I enjoy it or don't enjoy it, I'm automatically looking to see how can I improve on that existing system. So that, coupled with innate creativity, I've just fell in love with the media space, being able to tell stories, being able to report on things, being able to effectively communicate with masses and masses of people. Just it's something that spoke to me. So when I joined the media industry as an executive, I dove in head first, took on some massive responsibilities like rebranding and consolidating shows and running television stations and things like that. And fast forward a few years later, COVID happened. And COVID turned everything on its head, bro. Like that was a wide awakening for me. And I wasn't a gun owner yet. Even though I had been 12 years active duty in the Marine Corps, I had never owned or purchased a gun, because I knew what that responsibility was like. So in 2020, I purchased my first gun, and everybody was shocked, because again, I had gone the majority of my adult life without being a gun owner. And just went down a rabbit hole from there, man. Realized that, this being a gun owner wasn't just like kind of like what you see in the movies, or especially for minority gun ownership, right? Because I feel like there's a very specific picture that's like to be painted for minority gun ownership, and we are thankful that has been changing over the last couple years, and we feel like we're partially responsible for the way that the community is seen from a minority aspect. We've seen a lot more people come out and wanting to do things like content creating and join the shooting sports and become responsible gun owners and things of that nature. So our mission was accomplished, and we started that mission largely in part because of the circumstances of COVID. And then I felt like, myself and my business partner, Michael Singleton, we felt that my story, and then, he being such a good communicator, we were the perfect vessel to try to usher in a new standard as it pertained to what people thought of when they thought minority gun ownership.
Man, that is, everything you just said. People do have a misconception on. I came up, military family. Dad was in the Army for a long time. Shout out to the Armed Forces for sure. But everyone thought that, man, grew up in a military family. You worked, hand in hand with the Navy. I know you got 1,000 guns in your house and you know how to shoot it, which was, man, far from the case. It was not true at all. Yeah. Mom was a stickler when it came to the firearms in the home, and the ones Dad had, which was his old hunting rifles, but they was locked away in the closet, and it was like, boy, don't go in that closet. You will shoot your head off and stuff like that. Wasn't even loaded.
Right.
I think they were so old. They were my great-great-grandfather. So, but anyway, tell us something, man. So we want to know, because when I mention Guns Out TV, the first thing people always have a look on their face who don't know, the 2A community. They say, Guns Out TV? Where'd the name Guns Out TV, where did that come from?
Man, that's a funny story, because when Shermichael and I started, we were trying to figure out names for our YouTube channel, and it was interesting because we had some not so good names at first, Mac. I gotta be honest with you, bro. Like our first, I'll share this. Our first name was Two Gun Guys. That's literally was the first name we came up with, and luckily that didn't make it. That didn't make it out of the room that day, and then we started to just kind of talk to our friends, and really think about how do we do this and be clever, right? How do we do this in a way where when people hear the name, they don't automatically draw that perception, right? And we thought Guns Out was a perfect a perfect name that was obvious but not so obvious, right? Because initially when we first started, a lot of people thought we were a fitness channel. We were like some type of fitness show or company or something. And then when they found out it was actually firearms, it was just interesting the way it was received, right? Because it was just more palatable. It was just like, oh, really? Oh, wow, that's clever, right? And it just adds another layer. It adds another layer to where you're not trying to be overly obvious, and you're not trying to be obnoxious, and you're not trying to be forceful with your messaging. You know, this is something that is just it's approachable, whether you know it or not, right? It's like you hear Guns Out and you don't really think twice about it. You could be having, a conversation, and you could say the name in a conversation, and people around you won't know the wiser of what you're talking about unless they know what you're talking about. It's like, it's one of those if you know type things, right? But then it didn't take long, man. It didn't take long. Then it was like, God forbid we're at a gun range and somebody says Guns Out, you'll start to see people look around. so it's an interesting dynamic, and we love that name. Shout out to my boy Aaron Brock, because Aaron was a part of that consensus group, and he really kind of helped us nail it down. And when we heard Guns Out, we was like, yeah, that's the one. And the first thing I did was search the URL. Boom, it was available. Bought that domain ASAP.
Man, that is what's up. That's what's up. I kind of went down the same rabbit hole when it came to a lot of things that I'm doing. I'm new in this space still. I know some people know my name, but man, I'm trying to get to your level, which kind of brings me to, man, another question for you. So when you shot your first video and posted it, which, I know how that goes. Man, did you think it was going to go anywhere? I mean, you posted it. I mean, and we talked, a while back, maybe a year ago, and you were talking about your first video, the first Guns Out video that you guys shot, right? And so I said, man, let me do some deep diving. Let me check this first video out, right? So, man, tell me about that first video, and did you think it was going to go anywhere?
It honestly, Mac, it depends on what you classify as our first video. Because if you go down the YouTube rabbit hole, the first video, I want to say the first video we shot was like, it was supposed to be like this little teaser, because, there were several different reasons why we decided to start a channel in the first place. And it was because of how quickly I went down a rabbit hole as a gun owner. And then secondly, it was when we went to the range, bro, it was a whole production. It was a whole production. It was like me and my boys get together on a Saturday, everybody pulling duffel bags and gun cases out their trunks, and we all setting up on the tables, and this was a range day before we knew it was a range day, right? And so I think our first video was like a little teaser that showed me and my boy literally unloading his big old Escalade, man, trunks and cases and all types of stuff, and it just looked like, man, what are these dudes doing? They going to war or something, right? So that video, and this kind of goes, I think, back to the way that I think. Things have to make sense to me, right? So to me, knowing that we were a new channel, knowing that, potentially that first video we post may not get a bunch of views, I was like, let's put something out there. Let's not put a whole bunch of effort into it. Let's put something out there that kind of like introduces us in like kind of this mysterious way. And all we did was just filmed us. Literally, it's called Unload. I think the video is called Unload. And we were just unloading the truck, and we had a cool little slow motion shots, some little compelling music, and that was it. And so what that did was it made the whole process, in my personal opinion, less intimidating for me, because I was just like, this isn't a video where I'm trying to sit here and tell you all kinds of stuff, because I'm still new to this. I'm just like you right now, Mac, right? Like you're new to getting into articulating yourself and broadcasting yourself in media. And so in that moment, you want to do something that kind of makes you feel comfortable. So that was comfortable for me. And, I didn't really have any apprehensions about how good it's going to do. I just wanted to like it myself. I just wanted to like the way the video looked, man. And I did, and then after that, that's when, Shermichael came on board. And when Sherm came on board, we wanted to have fun. We wanted to make sure that our initial videos were just fun. It just showed like two guys hanging out, trying to learn more about firearms, trying to shoot better, and obviously trying to project safety. And so that kind of made the assignment easy too, right? The first couple videos was called Saturday Shooter. We go out to the range on a Saturday and we just show you what we're doing. Hey, man, I got my BP-12 and we about to shoot some clays. Hey, man, I just put a red dot on my staccato. Let's zero the optic. You know, just little stuff that I was doing anyway. And it really, I want to say, made it feel a lot less intimidating. It just felt like I was doing this and sharing it with people online, and that's it. And then after that, man, we were like, you know what? Hey, man, I think we got something here. And we decided to add more format to it and started to get more formal with our production and with the intention of what our videos are going to be. And then next thing you know, man, we oh yeah. So the next thing was we got approached by our business mentor, who also owns television stations and time slots all over the U.S. And he commanded the time slots here in the D.C., Maryland, and Virginia area. And he was like, you know what? I've been watching you guys do these videos, and I think that there's something there. So how would you like a slot on, I think it was Sunday morning, I think at 11:30 or something like that. And we was like, oh, wow, right before football. You know, most people is coming back from church. They turn on the TV at 11:30 right before some football. You know what? That's not a bad idea. So we did it. Man, first couple of episodes went crazy on TV. And by the third episode, we got shut down because it was right after January 6th. And then that's when the YouTube really took off. The YouTube really took off after our television show on actual local TV got canceled. So it just showed that there was an appetite for this. Oh, my bad. Showed that there's an appetite for this, and it kind of fueled the fire for us to keep going forward.
Man, so, you know, when you get to talking about creators and content and things of that nature, you know, did you guys, I mean, and maybe you don't realize it, but you guys are a platform for people like myself, people, you know, that I've met over the industry that, you know, all you got to do is mention, hey, did you guys watch the last video, Guns Out TV? And, man, people, you can just see them light up and so forth. Like, yeah, man, blah, 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 you know, and man, John and Sher Michael, they like the Batman and Robin, you know, of the 2A community. And it's an inspiration, first and foremost. Did you realize, like, or do you guys realize, like, that it is that you guys are a platform for, one, not only responsible gun ownership, but then two, there's a lot of cool shit out there that you guys, you know, introduce people like myself to. Did you realize that?
Well, first off, we're gonna address this Batman and Robin. I need to know who's Batman and who's Robin. I'm gonna need you to clarify that for me right now.
Well,
nah, man.
In all honesty, Sher Michael is not here, so I don't want him hitting me up. Hey, man, what do you mean? You calling me? You know, so I'm not saying anything.
Well, maybe since Sher Michael is not here, that kind of by default might make him Batman, right?
Well, by default, it might make him Robin too. So.
That's what's up, Mac. That was good. Very well played. Very well played.
Thank you.
Mac, you hit on something that I think we realized when we decided to work together, and that is that we enjoyed going to the range together. We enjoyed learning from each other and then pushing each other. We really enjoyed that aspect of that. And this was before we started filming, right? And so when we started filming and we realized, you know, how well we played off of each other, how our presentation and preferences regarding firearms and our skill sets were different. And we thought that this was a great dynamic to bring to a subject that is so taboo, right? And so, for example, when you think of you think of one guy in front of a camera telling you this and showing you that he's a subject matter expert, he's an authoritarian or something like that. You know, in most cases. But then you put two guys together, especially in limited skill set, because we both were not ashamed. We were very unapologetic about stating exactly what we didn't know about the firearm space. We were just starting to take serious training. We were just starting to carry and purchase some serious high-end firearms, and so that was an experience that we enjoyed sharing. So together, it was like, I'm not going to say me and Sherman are like oil and water. We're definitely complementary to one another in terms of our personality, in terms of our skill set, in terms of our experiences in life. I feel like we could cover a very broad base of people, just being ourselves, interacting off of each other, and then also sharing on screen, right? Because it's one thing when you see somebody just talking to the camera and sharing with the camera, and in some cases, if the person is really good, they can connect with the audience. They can connect with people directly through the camera. But it's a little different when you see two guys connecting with each other, and then both of them are connecting with you through the camera as well. It feels like, in our opinion, it felt more inclusive and a little bit disarming, but not in the way that we don't want to be disarmed. But it in my opinion, it made it like, what, I want to go and hang out on the range with those guys. And we got that comment so many times, and that's how we came up with our concept for Range Day, because people would just say like, man, I watch y'all videos, man, I just wish I could come out there on the range with you guys. And it took about 3 years of people saying that before we finally decided to make the Range Day offering part of the Guns Out TV offering.
So, first and foremost, for the listeners out there, if you have not been to one of the Guns Out TV Range Day events, you are missing out. Let me say that again. Let me bring the microphone a little closer. If you have not been to one of the Guns Out TV Range Day events, you're missing out. I missed out this year, 2025. I won't miss 2026. I mean, you get to shoot some pretty cool stuff that you see in the gun stores and look at and be like, ooh, I wonder how that feels in my hand, so forth and so on. Mm-hmm. And got a chance to, if I didn't shoot it, it was by my own fault. Not the fault that it wasn't there, because it was there.
Right.
So when it comes down to creating content and putting it out there, how do you decide what makes the cut for video? Like, and so, so how do you decide what makes the cut?
That's a great question, Mac, because it's actually evolved several times. And it honestly depends on what the video is about and what platform the video is going on. So, for example, when we first started, it was like we didn't really cut a lot at all when we first started. It was like everything was interesting to us. Everything was engaging to us. Everything felt like it should be in the video, right? But then as social media evolved, which it just really goes to show you how fast things can change, right? As social media evolved, people's attention span decreased. So as people's attention span decreases, then it's like, all right, how do I make this video as engaging as possible throughout the majority of the video? You got to cut a lot of stuff, Matt. You got to cut a lot of stuff. And so you have to really understand the type of video that you're making, right? So like if you're making a video that's supposed to be like some type of an in-depth teaching or explaining video, then you want to get into all the details and all the nuance, and you don't want to leave a lot of stuff out. If you're doing something that's more entertaining or introductory or something like that, then you may want to cut right to the chase. If you're doing something that you want to be can strike that middle ground, then you got to have some entertaining aspects, but then you also have to be very thorough and concise in your articulation and presentation of information. So it really just depends. I think it's best determined and dictated by the type of content and the audience that you're speaking to directly, right? So if you condition your audience to know that you're going to sit down and you are going to pontificate about on and on and on about different things, and they like to hear you, talk about these things and go into depth and share your opinion and experiences and things like that, then hey, that's the formula that's going to work for you. If you condition your audience to know that they're going to get a quick dopamine hit, like bam, we're going to see some action, bam, we're going to hear some jokes, bam, we're going to see some more action, and then the video is over, then you may not be able to deviate that from that formula once you actually get your audience baked in. So I would just say it's like I would start with the end in mind. How do you want your audience to behave, right? How do you want your content to be received? And then format that accordingly. Pay attention to your audience, because obviously all of the platforms out here have robust analytics. You can see people are only watching the first half of my video. People are only watching, 10 minutes of my 30-minute video, or whatever the case may be. So then you could dial that in to perfection, to where now you're increasing your watch times. People are digesting your information a lot better, so on and so forth. So I think it's an ongoing and fluid process of understanding what makes the cut for a video and what actually doesn't.
I see. So I'm going to ask you a very, very tough question.
Oh.
Okay. What's harder for you, picking the new Jordans or the new, let's just say, long rifle that just came out? What's more difficult for you? Because I see the extensive collection behind me there, and I know that you are a Jordan guy. I don't even know how you wear Jordans on the range. That just blows my mind. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's getting them dirty. So tell me that answer, because I gotta know.
That's interesting, Mac, because I think both are. I've really gotten a handle on my collection addiction. So all the Jordans you see on the wall behind me, that's probably half of what my collection used to be. I used to be that guy every other Saturday, man, when sneakers dropped. Oh, we got Jordans dropping at 10. We got these Jordans dropping at 10. We got a double hitter this week. We got Jordans dropping on Thursday and Saturday. I was getting them all the time, man. And, I have a hard enough time wearing all the ones in I mean, there's probably about a dozen Jordans in that case that I've never even put my foot in, bro. But what I did was I curbed my collection addiction to, I'm only going to buy the Jordans that I love, like literally. I'm not going to just buy every Jordan that comes out because they come out, because I thought that was the definition of a collector. It's like if they're coming out, you buy them. You buy them. But I wasn't a reseller, so I was just really being greedy and hoarding. So then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be greedy and hoard. I'm only going to buy the Jordans that I really, really love. So I sold all the ones that I really had no interest in or didn't wear. I kept all the ones that I was really in love with, and then all the future purchases of Jordans after that were only the ones that like I lusted after as a kid and couldn't afford. I went back and bought those, or the ones that came out that were really rare, special edition, type of Jordans. Now, as it pertains to choosing firearms, I am blessed to where, I've been able to work with a lot of companies. I've been able to go to a lot of range days. And as you know, Mac, now we host our own range days. So I get to shoot a lot of firearms in advance, sometimes in advance of them dropping to the public. Definitely in advance of me ever thinking about making a purchase. And then obviously because of the nature of our business, a lot of the times I don't have to purchase firearms. So with all that being said, I don't necessarily, when I go into a gun store, people are kind of wild because I walk in and I'll go take care of my business and I keep it moving, go to the range or whatever. I'm never really browsing, in the retail space because I've probably shot everything that's there, or I've probably seen everything that's there. I mean, like, for example, Kimber is one of our biggest partners right now. And all of the latest Kimber releases, we have those before the public even knows they're coming out. Right. So it's a privileged position to be in. and it's allowed me to spend a lot less money than I would if I was just a consumer buying these on my own. I often think about that, Mac. I'm like, if I didn't decide to actually create this media platform with Shermichael, like what would my gun collection actually look like? And it's a toss up. It's like, because in my first year of being a gun owner, 6 months in, I had bought probably like one firearm a month in 6 months.
Wow.
Right? Well, I bought two. My first purchase was a pistol and a rifle. And then after that, like I bought a shotgun, and then I bought another pistol, and then I bought an SBR. So nonetheless, went down the rabbit hole quick. So I don't know. Maybe I might have more guns if I wasn't in the position that I'm in, or I might have less. I don't know. It's just interesting. The world may never know.
So you have more Jordans than firearms?
You say what now?
More firearms than Jordans.
No. I definitely have more Jordans than firearms. Because those on the wall are there, but then inside that thing right there, there's like a whole nother section of Jordans.
Wow. So, man, if I'm looking for a specific color and it's my size, I'm coming to your house to see if I could match it up with the suit that I'm going to wear. So, yeah.
Mac, you might want to make sure you communicate with me in advance, sir.
Oh, most definitely. Oh no, you're gonna get an ask, invite. Kate, can you show? I need to look at all of them. Yeah, I want to make sure I return whatever I get. Hey, better than I took them off. So anyway.
Yeah, I feel you, Mac.
So let me ask you this question. So because of what's going on in the media, and sometimes the media has such a negative space for the 2A community, where when I don't know how it is. Well, I do know how it is there in D.C., but here in Michigan, it's I don't live in the big city. I live in a beach town. However, we did have an active shooter a while back, a couple years back, on the pier. Do you feel like the media sometimes give the 2A community space a negative outlook on in the world? Like, for example, the all dreaded AR-15. Everything you hear is AR-15, the big bad AR-15. Which we both know that there's other things, out there that mimic the look of an AR-15, but is truly not an AR-15. So
no. Like I said earlier, the media is a very big proponent for making and keeping guns kind of taboo, right? Movies and media. And the reason why I say movies and media is because in movies, what guns are being used for in movies, right? And then when anything remotely close to that happens in real life, man, I feel like the media broadcasts it even more than movies do their trailers, right? So it's one of those things where when you're constantly bombarded with a specific scenario about like firearms specifically, I think that it kind of trains your brain. It trains your brain to just think that these are not good things, right? And I just, I'm still befuddled at how people have not drawn the conclusion through their own common sense that guns are just that. They are things. They are tools. It's an inanimate object unless you pick it up. Unless you pick it up, put it in your hand, do something with it, it can't do anything on its own, right? So with that being said, same thing can be said about a hammer, a power drill, a frying pan, a car, a truck. All of these things can be used as deadly weapons in the hands of the wrong person. It's just that firearms are seen solely as that, portrayed in movies, exacerbated by media. They don't know, until I literally came home with my first two firearms. And I'm got to be honest, I came home with a pistol and a rifle, and I set those things down on my coffee table, and I sat there and I just looked at them for a while. I really did. I just looked at them and I was like, wow, these are in my house, right? And I think it was a healthy reflection for me. Obviously, I mean, I went decades without being a gun owner into my adult life, decades, even with military service under my belt. And I think that it's just about the individual of knowing themselves and knowing what these tools are for, and then wanting to do the things and making sure they do the things that make them a responsible gun owner. And it's interesting because once you really take those steps, Mac, there's so many light bulbs that go off for so many different reasons. You know, from just learning how to properly clean and store a firearm to actually taking formal training and learning how to defend yourself and learning the capabilities of pistols and rifles and shotguns. And I think the average person becomes empowered. I think the average person becomes empowered the more they know about firearms, the more they learn about firearms. They become empowered because they're less afraid. And that's like that's normal. That's kind of like human nature, right? The more you know about something, the less intimidating it should become in most cases. Sure. So even from the standpoint of just educating yourself on firearms, the firearms industry, the firearms community, I think that people will be able to draw better conclusions when they see these things on the media, when they see these things in movies. Like, it's interesting. Movies are forever ruined for me, Mac, because when I watch people and I see them doing improper firearms handling, it drives me crazy in a movie, bro. Yeah, I just think that people need to do their own due diligence on what it means to be a gun owner, and what firearms, what the true intent is for. And there's multiple intents, right? Because, I mean, there's the shooting sports. And the shooting sports, man, you know, I don't think that people give the shooting sports enough credit. That is a very disciplined sport. It is a very disciplined skill set, you know. It was told to me by Todd Jarrett. He said, shooting a stage in a match is like a 60-second focus test. And obviously, depending on the stage and depending on the skill of the shooter, it's over a lot quicker than 60 seconds. But ultimately, you want to lock in, and if you, no matter how quick the stage is, you're going to be locked in for a good 60 seconds because you have to look at what's around you. You have to look at how you're going to engage. You have to remember how to be safe. You have to know how to be as quick as possible with the firearm and put the rounds on target and be accountable for those rounds. And it just does something to you. It does something to you. And I think that a lot of people would have a much more, I think they would be much more interested in firearms if they really just looked at it from the shooting sports standpoint, because that it just takes an enormous amount of discipline and concentration to be able to shoot as fast as these pro shooters shoot, engaging as many targets as they're engaging while moving, while being safe. There's just so much going on so fast, and it's a cool thing to be a part of. When we did our first actual training to I would say shoot like a professional shooter, it was with Terran Tactical. And man, in one day, there were so many boundaries broken down in terms of what we thought our capabilities were or could be. And man, it just opened up my mind. And when you're trained, Mac, when you are trained, I feel like you have a much healthier respect for the firearms. You're not as haphazard. I feel like it dampens your temperament. I feel like it lowers your aggression, because I feel like the more trained you are, the more capable you know that this is the last resort. Like, I don't need to do this unless I absolutely have to do it. And the more trained you are and the more capable you are, man, it gives you that much more time to de-escalate. It gives you that much more time to assess the situation. You don't feel as jittery and nervous and want to like just kind of do this thing to do this thing. No, it's like, when I pull this out, I know this shit is about to go down.
Right.
So it puts you in kind of like a different mindset.
Okay, man. So, great answer, man. And I guess I never really thought of it like that. I do watch the Terran, videos. I haven't seen one with you, but maybe because I haven't, going on YouTube, man, it's a rabbit hole for me. Well,
when we did that, it was we were on the Warrior Poet Society Network. Are you familiar with that network?
Yes.
Yeah, we have 2 seasons of our self-named show, Guns Out, on the Warrior Poet Society Network. Season 1 is pretty much like our origin story, and it doubled down on what we were already doing on YouTube. And then, that was season 1. And then season 2 was us actually, after being in the industry and the community for like 2.5 years, we were actually exploring more and showcasing all the people that were out there, all the people that are out there that were doing things like training, hosting their own events and things like that. And then season 2 ended in our first range day. So it really chronicled, I think, the 2 most important years of growth for us as a platform on Guns Out. So that's why you haven't seen it, because the Terran show is a part of season 1.
Okay.
At some point, We the Free is going to buy the rights to that and bring it onto our platform.
Man, so before we get into We the Free, I have to grab my paper for this one, because I'm going to ask you some very what I call quick seconds, quick shots.
Yeah.
Okay. So Rapid fire, quick shots. Here we go. So here we go. Polymer or metal frames?
What?
Questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Straight questions.
Okay.
Polymer or metal frame?
Oh,
no explanation.
Polymer.
Range day alone or range day with a crew?
Crew.
One firearm you'll never sell?
Woo. Oh, I think the Island Barrel XL, bro.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say the Island Barrel XL, and I have to say the XC, because the XC is, in my opinion, the equalizer. It's like the Island Barrel is. I have a healthy appreciation for it because, I'm very well trained, and that is a precision pistol. And the XC, while it's also precision, it's just like you can put that in anybody's hand, and it increases their efficacy by at a minimum of 50%. So in my personal opinion, if I have an XC with me, I can confidently hand that off to somebody to defend me if I need to be defended, right? Or for them to defend themselves while I go defend a lot of other people. So yeah, Island Barrel XL and Staccato XC. Definitely won't sell either one of those.
Okay, so you said something just then that kind of caught me off guard, because I was like, okay, now I have a Staccato CS. I've seen John, I believe, with a Staccato P. So is he meaning staccato? But, so I wasn't familiar with the Island Barrel. So.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah. So it caught me off.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, staccatos. I mean, bro, you got the staccato hat on, man. I figured you knew exactly what I was talking about.
I just have one.
Oh man, my bad.
Actually, I flew down to was communicating with Nathan there at Staccato.
Nate.
And I said, hey, Nathan, before I buy anything, I want to come down, see the shop, see how they're made. That was when I knew I had the itch. And when I literally got on a plane, me and my wife flew to Texas, and we were like, okay, we have an appointment over here. I'm sure she was probably like, oh, here we go again. So went there, seeing the shop, and actually just to see the craftsmanship. Shout out to Staccato and all the fine people there. Really made it not only educational, but it made me want one that much more. Where I was just like, ooh, okay, I'm going to have to put some coins in a jar to make sure I get this. And actually, Nathan made it very, very easy for me to get the one. But then it came down to, because I'm gonna tell you, you make things hard, John. In a good way. In a good way. I seen your gold-plated P, I believe.
XL.
Or is that the XC?
XL.
XL. And I was like, ooh, that thing just looks awesome. So I was like, okay, concealed carry, or am I thinking, fun at the range and so forth. So I went with the CS, and I wish I would have went with the P, honestly, because I know that's more so can be used as a comp gun. So anyway, you have some cool stuff that make people that when we see your videos, I mean, just straight up, it's like, ooh, what is he shooting? And man, do I get this one or that one? Because there's so much cool stuff out there. So last question on the rapid fire, which kind of got off range a little bit. Most overhyped firearm trend you've seen online?
Ooh. FRTs, bro. FRTs. Okay. And look, I gotta say this. I gotta expound on this because I know a number of creators who really enjoy FRTs and like they do a lot of content on FRTs. And I tell them this all the time. They tell me I'm getting old. Hey, look, I'll take it. I guess I am getting old. And you can, and the thing is that the reason why I stand on business for this is because you could trace this back all the way to a very, very early episode of Guns Out. It's the Primary Arms Range Day episode 1, if I'm not mistaken. I shot a full auto 9mm PCC, and I shot the thing, and it was fun. And I looked at the camera and I said, "Full auto 9 makes sense. Full auto Glocks doesn't make sense." So I've always not been a fan of full auto pistols, handguns. It doesn't make sense to me. It's fun to shoot, but that's it. And I guess I think from my perspective, on my wall, I mean, they're pretty, like, they're all premium firearms. Like, there's no two ways around it. They're all premium handguns on that wall, and not one of them do I want to, in my opinion, ruin by putting an FRT in it. I don't want to ruin the way it functions. I don't want to ruin the accuracy of it. I don't want to ruin it in general by gutting it and making this mechanism do something that it wasn't designed initially to do. Now, if I was to purchase a full auto pistol, I would want to get like an official one, like the Glock 18C, something that was designed to do that and be that, right? Versus tinkering with it myself and doing it. Now, I will put an FRT in a rifle. Yes, I will do that ASAP. but that's, in my personal opinion, is a little more logical than an FRT and a pistol. So yeah, so long way of saying overhyped FRTs and pistols. Don't like those.
Okay, all right. So if you had to choose one movie to watch, like you were scrolling through and there were 2 action movies or shows, let me not say movies, but shows, John Wick or I forgot the new one with the lioness.
John Wick.
John Wick, huh?
I have never seen an episode of The Lioness. I haven't seen
Really?
it. I heard, it's interesting because I heard a lot of good things about the show. My good friend J.R. Guerra, that was on Team Terran Tactical, he was a part of that production team. I think he was one of the assistant armors or something like that. And yeah, I've heard a lot of people talk good things about the show Lioness. And what's even more interesting is because, on our platform, We the Free, we just dropped our first short film that was kind of like my acting debut. And once, a couple of my friends that were actors already and other producers saw it, they were like, holy shit, man. It was like, dude, you should be on the Lioness. You should be on those types of shows, man. That would be really cool to see you on those. And so I've been meaning to watch it just to see what the show was all about, because I heard a lot of good things about it. When you see a show get renewed for season after season, they must be doing something right. So I'm gonna have to check it out. But John Wick, man, that's a classic at this point. John Wick is part of pop culture now, you know. So yeah, John Wick. I'll always have a healthy appetite for John Wick.
Yeah, well, you got most of his firearms anyway, so you know.
I mean, honestly, I'm close. I'm close, Mac. I do. I mean, I got the Glock 34 Copperhead Combat Master. Man, one of my favorite Glocks of all time. I just need to get my hands on that Genesis 12, bro. That's the only thing I'm missing.
Well, hey, if you do get it, I just want to see it. I don't even want to touch it. I don't want to hold it. I just want to be close to it so I can look at it. Because if I hold it, I'm going to want one. And I know if it's hard for you getting one, it'll be extremely hard for me getting one.
Bruh, you know, so you never shot the Genesis 12?
I have not.
Bro, let me tell you something. So here's a quick spoiler alert. Magazine-fed shotguns are historically some of the most unreliable shotguns out there. Like, they just tend to jam a lot. They tend to be fickle on ammo. There's just a lot of nuances to magazine-fed shotguns, and it's interesting which ones cause the most problems. I have a Panzer BP-12 that's a bullpup magazine-fed shotgun. And when I first got it, I had tons of issues. It would only take certain types of ammo. I blew the gas block out on that thing. Like, all types of stuff was going wrong with it. Then I sent it back. They sent me a new one. And then when they sent me a new one, they told me what type of ammo to run in it. And I bought exclusively that ammo. And then I've never had a problem with it since. But I feel like most magazine-fed shotguns, you got to dial it in and know what you're doing and what you're buying for it before you can get it to successfully, consistently run. Not the Genesis 12, bro. You could put a rock in that magazine, bro. It's going to shoot that rock.
Wow.
Yo, Genesis 12 is a monster, bro. Like, not only from a standpoint of cycling rounds flawlessly, no matter pretty much what the rounds are, but also, bro, I shot a full auto Genesis 12 in, which episode was that? I think it was GunCon, my first GunCon episode. I shot the full auto Genesis 12, and it was just like what? That easy? You know, it's one of the best shotguns on the market. Period.
Well, if you have it at the Guns Out TV Range Day 2026, I will definitely.
I'm trying to get them there, bro. I think I'm gonna get them there this year, bro. I think I'm gonna get them there this year because I've given them enough time. We're going on our 5th Range Day, so I think I'll be able to convince them to come this year.
That's what's up. I know I have a Panzer Pro that I got during COVID, actually, and it was the only shotgun that I had, and honestly, I probably just shot it for the first time this summer during our range day. And I say range day, I use that word loosely. Just some people that we've taught joined us for a range day event. Small town, range, but we made the best of it and had fun. So I'm looking forward to shooting the Genesis, honestly. And one of the most memorable guns that I shot, and you probably will be like, really? Was an MP5 at your guns day, your range day, with the BOS. Boss, I say BOS, I think it's BOSS.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Boss silencers, yeah.
Silencers. And, you know, honestly, I would see them on shows and see special forces using them and things of that nature. And I was like, they just look ugly. But actually, when I put one in my hand and shot, and it was like, man, you shot one of these before. I was like, no, it's the first time I ever held it. And it was actually really cool. And a lot of us who, you know, from the camp that came with me, the two guys, they actually had a really good time as well. But, man, I know you have a lot of things going on, so let's get through these next couple of questions, man. And so when it comes down to what advice would you give new gun creators? What advice would you give them without getting, what advice would you give them from your perspective of doing it so long?
Man, I would say be intentional. I think now the community is looking for specific things in terms of the types of reviews they watch in terms of the type of content and why that content is being produced. I feel like, the community knows what it likes and what it wants. And so if you're going to do one of those things, be very intentional in doing that. Put your best foot forward, plan things out. Don't wing it. Don't go off the cuff. Don't talk about things that you're really not versed in. And I know sometimes that can be easier said than done, because you can get excited and you may be misinformed, or whatever the case may be. But that's a very important aspect as it pertains to firearms, in my personal opinion. Being as accurate as informed as possible. Don't be discouraged by people who either call you out on something, whether it be your form or your skill set with a firearm or your knowledge about the firearm. But be open to criticism, and without question, be transparent. Don't get in over your head. Don't try to demonstrate things that are beyond your experience level or skill set. And then last but not least, man, have fun and be authentic. Have fun and be authentic. Find your niche. What makes your channel different from somebody else's channel? Because almost everything is already out there. So you need to be different. And to me, the easiest way to be different is to be yourself, because that's you. There is not another you. So if you're being as authentic as humanly possible, then what you say, the way you do things, and how you present them is going to be naturally different from the others out there that's doing it.
Good. Yeah, good advice. I'm telling you, because the one thing I couldn't stand was like how I sounded on camera, and, being from the hip hop world and living in Virginia a while back and being on the mic and doing certain things in the club scene way back in the day before the gray hair. I didn't mind how I sounded on the mic, but now like I listen to myself and I'm like, I hate how I sound on the mic, but it is what it is, because it's my voice. I don't have another one. So
right.
Tell us, because the world wants to know, and I couldn't wait to ask you this question, which is why I kind of saved it for last. Man, I would love for you to tell the listeners and viewers a little more about We the Free, which the intro itself makes you just want to like hit and buy and click and so forth. Man, tell us about We the Free, because you have a lineup of people on that has information on We the Free.
Thank you, man. So yeah, and just for a little bit of clarification, I know this is probably coming late in the video for some people that may have been confused, because you referenced Guns Out a lot, because that's how you met, me and Shermichael. That is our first platform, and it's what's interesting about Guns Out and We the Free is that Guns Out TV was always it was supposed to essentially potentially become We the Free, right? And that's why it was called Guns Out TV, because it was supposed to be aggregation of different creators, different types of media, different experiences, all under one roof. But then we realized that we became a vital ingredient to Guns Out, right? Guns Out became me and Shermichael. So when people think Guns Out, they think like, what are the guys getting into next? Where are they going next? What guns are they shooting next? Things like that. So then it was kind of hard to deviate or conceptualize how to bring other people in under that same Guns Out umbrella. And then after we thought about it, we were like, let's just continue growing Guns Out as what it is. It's an invitation to join us in the community, right? And so that's when we expanded and created the range days. So now we have the digital element and we have the physical element. And then once we did those two things, we realized, and then YouTube started to really get out of control with their censorship. When all of that started to happen, that's when we were like, you know what? We've seen this before. We've seen people try to stand up networks and they didn't work, or they fizzled out, or whatever the case may be. Let's try to do what it was that we intended for Guns Out, but let's do it and make it even more inclusive, and hopefully not to stay solely about guns, right? Let's do something for America. Let's do something for freedom-loving Americans. Let's do something for people who want to be the best version of themselves. Let's do something for people who want to be entertained, who want to be educated, who want to be able to watch content the way it was intended to be created from the creators. And then let's also give them some high-end media. And then last but not least, a community. Start building a community of people that not only consume the content, but can also be in the content and then eventually experience it in real time at another major event style thing, right? So we stood up We the Free, and it was interesting because it says WTF.TV next to my name. So that stands for WeTheFree.tv because that's one of the domains we got. We wanted to get a domain that was very catchy and easy for people to remember. WTF, like everybody knows what WTF is, but then they find out it's not for what people think it is. It's for We the Free, right? So WTF.tv/WeTheFree.com. Either one of those URLs work, takes you to our platform. It is a web-based streaming service that is also available on every mobile app out there. Android, iPhone, Samsung TV, Roku, Amazon. You can download it on your TV, on your computers, on your mobile devices, or you can just sign on via the web on your computer, right? And we have a ton of content, bro, a ton of content. Everything from YouTube reviews to high-end reviews to masterclasses on silencers, Pistol One training course, one of the best online training courses, in my opinion, that I've ever seen, let alone produced. Original shows like Pimp My Pew, that was something that I wanted to do on Guns Out years ago. I wanted to do that on Guns Out years ago, but I just didn't have the acumen to do it. I didn't have enough experience. I didn't have enough firearms. I didn't know enough gunsmiths. And so it was one of those things that I kind of put on the back burner. But then when it was time to stand up the network, as the owner of the network, there's just certain things like I want to put the product first. And in my mind, I was like, Pimp My Pew, like we got to find somebody who is known for having enough guns, is known for, modifying guns profusely. Like we need that type of a character, and boom, What the Kicks, perfect choice for that, right? So, and same thing with PSR and his season of content. 3D printing is a whole thing, and it gets censored. Crazy censored on YouTube, and there's a huge appetite. People want to learn how to either 3D print accessories for their firearms or mechanisms and whatnot. Obviously there are some legalities involved, but we make sure to address those in his season. But nonetheless, it's entertaining and it's teaching people what they want in a very uncensored, unfiltered way. The way that we as Americans have the right. We have the right to free speech, and we have the right to defend ourselves and that free speech, right? So yeah, We the Free is a culmination of all of those things. And what we realized through the years of Guns Out is that content creates community. People watch the content, and before they know it, they can find themselves in the same room with other people that watch that content. That's why people get so excited when they're like, hey, you watch that new show on Netflix, you watch that new documentary, this is what is it called? Water cooler talk, like when you go to work and people are, you good?
Yeah. Yep. Good.
Okay. Yeah. People are talking about content. So content brings people together. So in that same natural vein, because content brings people together, we thought that we could stand up a platform where the content and the community intersects. So in this first year of building We the Free, we made certain to include some of the most outgoing creators. We made certain to bring in as much of our subscribers into our content as humanly possible, right? So we did a whole casting call for Pimp My Pew. That was all We the Free subscribers. We the Free subscribers got special access at Range Day. At VIPs at Range Day got free subscriptions to We the Free. So we're just really creating a melting pot of content and community that everybody can be a part of. I got so many texts, DMs, and phone calls about Range Day this year because these people who are our subscribers are now finding themselves in content. And that is something to be proud of. People enjoy that. Everybody, well, I'm not going to say everybody enjoys seeing themselves on camera, but it's one of those things where you don't realize that you could be a part of something like that easily. Usually there's a very high barrier to entry to get to something like that, whether it be cost, whether it be availability, whether it be exclusivity. Well, that's not what we want to do at We the Free. So, like, for example, some of the things that we do, like obviously a training and masterclass, we could charge $250 for our online Pistol 1 course because it's that detailed, right? You can come and get a 1-month subscription and take an entire pistol course. I'm talking about this thing has like 14 chapters. It goes through all of the nuances of form, fitment, fundamentals, all of these things as it pertains to the pistol, right? And that's the type of value we want to bring to our community. And also on our platform, it's not just a streaming platform where you go and you watch content and then you get off the app. Nope. We have a community section. People are in the community on our platform posting videos, posting pictures, asking questions. Hey, I want to buy a battle belt. Anybody got recommendations? Hey, check out my new, Island Barrel XL. Check out my new Shadow Systems, whatever the case. They're on there sharing because all of these people are like-minded. We're all here for the same thing. We all believe in the same thing or something similar, or we're just trying to learn about it. And to see all of these things happen, it literally makes the cliche phrase, if you build it, they will come. It makes it absolutely not as cliche as you would think, because that's what we did. We built it, and watching this thing populate itself in terms of subscribers, because we're populating it with content and substance, it's a very, very rewarding thing. So with all that being said, we invite everybody, not just people in the firearms community, anybody who loves good content, good unfiltered, uncensored content, to come and check out the We the Free platform on WTF.tv or WeTheFree.com. We have a community section. It's like a mini social media hangout. People are loving it. We're loving it. We're about to stand up our merch store finally. So we're going to have some really cool merch that allow you to support the network, but also rep the network. And there's going to be a lot of really cool things in the very, very near future. We're going to have interactive content where, the creators are going to be directly communicating to the audience and giving the audience opportunities to communicate back to them in the community section. We're going to be challenging ourselves with drills and trainings and just a lot of different things, live events. The sky is the limit now that we own and operate our own platform.
Man, that is beautiful and very, very, very well said, because I tell you, when I started off, I didn't really know how to start. So a good friend of mine came over. He had I want to say it was a 6.5 Creedmoor, and it was all tricked out and everything. And, he was saying, like, man, you I'm sure you got one of these. I was like, no, I don't have anything like that around here. And he says, I said, I can't afford that. How much was that? And he said the price or whatever. And it was moderately priced. But at the same time, I had girls in college. So I was like, money, gets dispersed differently. My checking and my savings, like Kevin Hart said, So,
got a checking and a savings.
Right. So yeah, I had to dig deep into figure out how to build mine, legally, of course. And so that's kind of how I went down the rabbit hole. So I know there were certain things I seen you have, like your battle belt, that, I don't know. And I'm sure you get hit up a lot. Like, hey, John, you had this battle belt on, or you had this holster, or blah, blah, blah. How do I find that? And, one thing I give you shout out, mad kudos for, it, you responded and you kind of told me where to go, which was, superb. Like, now I have a comp belt. things of that nature. You told me where to go, where to find it, what the brand was, and so forth, which I'm grateful for, and big ups to you for that. But man, so I would probably have to ask at this point. So you have We the Free, which is doing big things, a lot to come with that. Do you see an evolution happening where, would you say in your creativity, do you push something new every 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, or do you just let it mature naturally and then say, hey, there's a need for this? Like you said, with YouTube and the whole algorithm and them censoring certain things, and you have We the Free. Will there be something next? Because I know, man, it looks like your brain is always. So you don't have to share. You don't have to give up any idea. Any ideas and give away the tea, as they say. Just a yes or no.
Yeah. No. Mac, you're a very observant gentleman, my friend. And you're right. Yes, my brain is always calculating. It's always calculating, and not in a mischievous way, but calculating in a way of, like I said, it's in my nature to improve upon existing systems, even if I built the system myself, right? So what's interesting is that when you build the system yourself, you have so much control. The evolution is almost unlimited, right? It can be almost anything that you want it to be. You shaped this thing. You laid the foundation for it, right? So I think we're just scratching the surface of the capabilities of our streaming network. I think that we have not even scratched the surface in terms of reach. There's many more people that we can reach. So yeah, there are some things that we're already planning for the future. We the Free has obviously some evolving to do as well, all in good ways. And with the advent of technology and AI, there's just so many possibilities out there. And I think what we're just going to focus on as it pertains to We the Free is just keeping the community focused. We want to keep our eyes and our ears on what the community wants, how they want to participate. And we are inviting people to participate, right? We're going to get, in 26, we're launching a program where anybody, whether you're a creator, not a creator, whether you're just a subscriber or whatever, you refer someone, you have your own link, you can share the link. Hey, you should check out this platform I'm watching. Boom, you send them the link, they click your link, and then boom, you get. So we're setting up a massive affiliate program to where anybody, you don't have to be a creator, you can just be a person in the community, because that's how you grow community. You get, it's word of mouth. So we're going to incentivize that and create a massive affiliate program that we're going to announce in 26, where all of our subscribers can not only generate some extra income and maybe earn some perks on the platform, but help us and help themselves grow the community and shape the community. And then obviously there's the experience aspect, right? Range Day was the natural evolution for Guns Out. Well, I'll just leave it at that. If Range Day was the natural evolution for Guns Out, I just want you to use your imagination and think where we're going to try to take We the Free.
That's what's up. Well, John, I didn't get to all my questions, but man, I appreciate you for being here. You taking the time, as I'm sure you got 1,000 things, man. And, people, listen to me closely. John Keys and Guns Out TV, We the Free, they have been nominated for the Gundies Award, which is kind of like the Emmys for the 2A community. So, man, shout out to you on that.
Appreciate it.
For
yeah. I didn't know we had a studio audience.
Yeah, studio audience in the building, man. That's how we do at the Pew Pew Cafe, man. A whole bunch of us here. So
yeah,
we it's a shout out for you, man. And I hope you, like you said, come home with a bag full of trophies and whatnot for your
appreciate it, man,
accomplishments and things like that. So unfortunately, we will not be at the Gundies Award this year. But man, if you're there, we're there with you in spirit, for sure. I think I seen Jeremy with the kicks and on there and so forth, you know. And I think the most dapper, I believe, is the one of the categories. So, you know, I'm sure you'll shine big.
Appreciate it.
You know, shout out to one of the outfits you wore. I have to give you props on this. So, okay. I believe it was your first Guns Out TV Range Day event, where it was the VIP event that you had at XCal. Shout out to Jason over there at XCal. You had it at his venue over there, and you had a light gray suit on, I believe. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, all right, I see you, big dog, I see you. So, hey, shout out, where I was like, okay, man, John over there doing his thing. And that was even before I knew you. I was just kind of like, you did it big. And I said, that dude is sharp right there. I got to give me one of them shoes. So, you know, and I did.
I appreciate it, man.
You know, I appreciate people when they rocking certain things, and it, you know, I just hope I look, you know, as good. So anyway.
Nah, man, you and your man came through sharp, man. I remember.
Hey, we tried. So
yeah.
Anyway, man, once again, man, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. I do.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
I met at your Guns Out event. Killer Kev will be next on my show.
Very nice
young man from New Jersey.
Yeah.
So I've met a lot of people through you, man, and so, you know, keep on doing what you're doing, and man, we appreciate you. We appreciate you, man. So
it makes me happy. It makes me happy to hear, Mac, and it just affirms all of our work, man, because that's what we want to do. We want to connect people with people, and grow the community, man. So even being on this show it's a part of celebration. It's a way of celebrating the work that we put in, because you know, I mean, man, look at that. You know, from our efforts, we're creating people who are putting in efforts themselves, and that's what we want, man. That's what we should be doing as people, man. Is, you know, we should see things and see people and have experiences, and then bring that and share that with others, and help people and opportunities grow. And that's what this is, man. So it was my pleasure to be here with you today, Mac. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, brother. And I wish you luck on the Pew Pew Cafe. Love the name. And next time I'm on, sir, it's not going to be at crack early in the morning, and I'll definitely have something in my cup.
Well, I appreciate you for saying that, and I'd like to get Shermichael on here, because I'm dying to know who's Batman, who's Robin, and because I already know that y'all got some dynamite utility belts. I need to know, because, you know, Robin's belt wasn't as equipped as Batman's belt, so I need to know who is who. I'm gonna let y'all answer the question for yourselves, because I'm not picking. So
yeah, no doubt. I'm gonna let him know, man. I'm sure it'll be his pleasure to come on the show, bro.
Man, that would be great. Well, hey, shout out to you, man. Once again, appreciate you for being on the channel, and thank you for taking the time, man. Go ahead and get you some more green tea in you. And, man, I know you got a boatload of things lined up for the day. Appreciate it.
I sure do, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks, Mac. Take it easy, brother.
Thank you. So we'll talk to you soon. All right.